It's Sunday night, and this is the Conjugal Visit on KGFRocks.com.
Yeah. Gage, he's clearing his throat. He's clearing his throat. Beginning of the show, welcome to the Conjugal Visit here on KGFRocks.com through Spreaker. So glad that you could all join me. Yes, sir. How you doing there, Guido? What's going on, man?
I'm fine, but just let me say something. When I used to do terrestrial radio, they would say, and go. So that you wouldn't fucking clear your throat on air. But our producer doesn't do that for us. And fucking asshole. He just lets it come right in and never know we're on the air until he starts talking.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah.
Okay.
I'm good, though. In 4, 3, we're live. Now you don't
we're
even
live.
gotta do all that shit. All you gotta do is say go. Or,
go.
Okay.
And
right.
go. And go. But you can't hear me until I turn up the volume.
Okay, then turn the goddamn volume up. All right.
Whenever I say I'll be back, that means that when I come back, we're going to be live.
Yeah.
Okay. So
right.
You got to anticipate. You have to anticipate.
I don't want to anticipate. I want to participate.
You want to participate? Well,
yes.
You want to participate. You can clear your voice on air. I mean, clear your throat on air.
Well, you know what? If I don't, then I sound like I don't know, like Kenny Rogers underwater or something.
Or like the redneck trucker.
Yeah, like Daryl Hightower. I forgot about Daryl.
Daryl Hightower, yeah.
Daryl.
Daryl.
Remember when Daryl had the conversation with the priest talking about 2 cups, 2 girls in a cup?
2 girls in a cup, yeah. He was talking to actually with the Emerald King.
Was it the Emerald King? Oh,
yeah, it was the Emerald King. Yeah, that was a funny fucking show. And that was also with our good friend over there who just passed away recently, Chief Wannadoobie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It was. Chief Wannadoobie and the Emerald King were on the show. One of our classic shows, folks. If you want to go back into our archives and check out our shows, check out the one with Chief Wannadoobie. That's a funny fucking show, dude. I mean, that's first class funny.
It is a classic. And if people listened to the Conjugal Revisits this afternoon at noon, it was the Chief Wannadoobie replay.
Yes, it was.
And so every week, if you want to go to Spreaker and listen to all our past shows and like you do Netflix and fucking binge listen, go ahead. But if you want to be surprised every week, you can get 2 episodes if you've never heard us before. You'll get a repeat at noon and then the live show at 9.
At 9, yeah.
Yeah. And then you never know what the repeat's going to be, so it's not going to be in order. So you're going to be just as surprised because we don't do them in order.
No, there's no order here at KGF Rock. No order whatsoever. I mean, we really rarely do a show where we're prepared for anything. I mean, this is completely unscripted, isn't it? Am I lying by saying it's unscripted? I mean, we just throw shit at you. I mean, we were before the show started. We were talking about the floods, and no tax on clothing. If you live in a state where there's no tax on clothing, that's fucking awesome. Now here in Missouri, what they do is right before school, they have a couple of weekends before school starts. They have a tax holiday where on school supplies and on clothing and laptops and all kinds of stuff, electronics, there's no tax.
None.
None. There's no tax on any of that stuff. But during regular time, it's like it depends on the county you're in or the city that you're in on what the tax is. But the state tax, sales tax, I think is 6%. I'm not really
Where?
quite sure. It's six and a half
In your
in Missouri. Yeah, in
Oh,
Missouri,
shit.
there's but you guys pay a 9% tax, and they don't even give you a break for school.
Never. There's never a break in the state of New York for anything. You know, New York is a liberal, blue state, which is amazing that there's so many taxes paid in this state. You know, and that's what it's all about with that kind of a system is you pay tax so that the people that don't work can live off your dime. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And for those people that are truly looking for a job and can find one, I don't mean you. I don't mean you. God bless you if you're looking for a job and you can't find one, because I know too, the job market's tough. But if you're just playing the fucking system and spending my tax money, you're a scumbag. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You're paying tax. That's it. That's
it. Well, no, because I'm glad I live in a country where if you do need help, it's there for you. Okay, but there's so many people abusing, welfare and food stamps and Medicaid and whatever.
Right.
There's so many people, and there's a lot of people that need it, and I'm glad. Like I said, I'm not saying everybody that has public assistance is a scumbag, because I have had it before, and it's there. But if you're just doing it as an income and don't want to work, then fuck you.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're just being a shit bum, then you don't deserve anything.
No, you don't.
If you're just going to collect the money and sit on your ass and drink beer and snort fucking meth and do the nasty and all that stuff, I mean, that's on you, man. That's on you.
Right.
You want to live your life that way? Hey, man, that's on you. No, there's no helping you. There's no helping you. I mean, you got to want to give a little bit. You got to want to succeed. Otherwise, you're just a burden on society. Right. And we could do a lot without you. So if you're not
definitely.
So if you're not going to help out, then the hell with you. You know what? You live and die by your actions. And if you're going to be lazy and you're not going to get shit done that needs to get done for your family, then you know what? The hell with you. Besides that, you're not worth fucking having.
It's like systems like this were created, like the welfare system and all that, to help people. But before there was a welfare system, when people had to work, everybody pretty much worked.
Yeah. Pretty much work, and then
right.
they would work for food, or they would work for money, right. or they would rob banks, or
right.
Bonnie and Clyde, for example, during the Great Depression.
Right.
They were considered heroes until they got blown away. So those were the welfare brats. I mean, those were the guys that we're not taking your money. They'd say, bullshit.
Right.
Bullshit. You are taking their money. Don't let them fool you, folks. Those are the Bonnie and Clyde and people like them back in the day. Those are the Democrats of today. They're going to rob you blind, man. Right. They're gonna take everything that they can from you as long as you continue to let them, and they're going to continue to mislead the American people into believing
right.
that everyone is a white supremacist. And that there's no hope for anybody. You're never going to get a fair shake. And all of this bullshit that they're spewing all over the American people today is a lie, folks. It's a lie. No question about it. I got no doubt in my mind. As for me, it's a fucking lie. Okay? As far as these monuments are concerned, all this monument shit that we're going through right now, I got one thing to say to you. Mm-hmm. Democrats put those up.
You're not shitting me. Here's another thing.
No, I'm not
This
shitting you at all.
No, here's another pertinent fact, and that's so not talked about.
Oh, yeah.
The first members of the Ku Klux Klan were all Democrats, senators, and congressmen.
George Wallace, to name one. He's a white supremacist. He was a segregationist. He believed in the separation of white and black.
Yes.
George Wallace, look him up. Larry Bird, or not Larry Bird, what was his name? Bird from Kentucky.
Larry Bird.
What was his name? The guy from Kentucky, Bird. He was a governor and a senator, and his concubine was black.
Wow.
So don't give me this crap that it's all Republican, because it's not. It's not. Okay, let me ask you something. Who is for the Free State of Israel? Mm-hmm. Republicans. How the fuck can we be Nazis if we're for the State of Israel? If we believe that the State of Israel deserves to exist, how can we be Nazis? Figure that one out, folks. Figure that one out, because the Democrats don't give a flying fuck whether it comes or goes.
Right.
They don't care. They just assume the Palestinians take it all. Okay? Right. So you're not giving me any of this crap that I'm a Nazi. Okay? I am all for the free Israeli state. Okay? That's right off the fucking top. I believe that if a man, whether he's black, white, Hispanic, or Chinese, or if he's fucking green from Mars, if he works hard and he goes out and he does the right thing by his family and he takes care of himself without being a burden on our society, I don't give a flying fuck what color you are. You're a good man. Mm-hmm. You're a good man. So don't give me this racist crap. And don't give me this fucking anti-Semite crap. You know who was an anti-Semite?
Who?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was a lot of racism and stuff in the olden days. Definitely.
Oh, yeah, he kept the army segregated, first of all.
Yep. He did. And there's a lot of racism today. I'm not going to lie.
He knew what was happening in Europe. He knew exactly what was happening in Germany. And he decided not to do anything about it. That was his choice. He knew those people were being murdered over there, and he didn't do anything about it.
Right.
So don't tell me that the Republican Party is all of a sudden now the new Nazi party, because it's not happening, folks. It's not true. It's a lie. Don't believe the lies. They're just putting the blame on the Republicans for starting something they started themselves back in 1861.
Right. Well, here's what the only thing I got to say is the people that are saying these things are dumb-ass Democrats. They're not even good Democrats. It's Nancy Pelosi and what's her name, Maxine Waters or whatever the fuck her name is. And these are the dumb ones. These are the ones that you don't want to follow.
Chuck Schumer.
Chuck Schumer from my home
state. He's the biggest schmuck. He is the biggest ass. I want to hit him in the face, man. And I'm not a violent person. I just want to, the guy is just a douchebag. Complete douchebag. If you believe anything that comes out of his mouth, you are gullible.
Yeah, you are.
You are totally gullible. No.
And the sad part is there's a lot of good people that believe in this bullshit, and it's like I don't hate people. I don't. I just hate sometimes the fact that there is double standards. Like a Democrat can do something and there's no fucking problem with it. They put a spin to it that, it happened because of this. As soon as a Republican does something wrong, it's the fucking Antichrist, man.
Oh, yeah. It's a Nazi. It's Nazi. And you know what? It wouldn't have mattered. And tell me I'm wrong, okay? Because I'm waiting for somebody to tell me I'm wrong. It wouldn't have mattered what Trump said that Saturday after the riots down in whatever, Charlottesville. Down in Charlottesville, Virginia. It wouldn't have mattered what he said. He was going to get fucked with anyway.
Yep.
It didn't matter what he said.
It doesn't matter what he says because the liberal media, if you listen to CNN, you're listening to liberal propaganda. Okay, you're listening to fake news, and the president will tell you. And I'm sorry if you don't believe what the president has to say. Okay, that's fine, because I didn't believe one fucking word or one thing that Obama did. I couldn't but I never said a bad word about him, and I stood behind him because he was who the people voted for. Okay,
Well, he was the president of the United States, and I don't
right.
take any of that away from him.
Right.
But do you know when the war on cops started?
When he took office.
When he took office, and he said the police acted stupidly,
Yep.
and he didn't take the back, he didn't cover their backs.
Yep.
That's when the war on the police started.
Sure
That's
did.
when all this crap started on the police and the murders and the assassinations of police officers that are still going on today. That war started 7 years ago when he opened his, or 8 years ago when he opened his mouth.
Yeah. Well, every president has done some dumb things. I'm not
yeah.
gonna lie. You
no,
can't.
even Trump is doing some stupid shit.
Oh shit! Yeah.
He needs to shut the fuck up. That's his problem. He just
But
needs
you
to
know
shut
what?
the fuck
But
up.
what the news is not telling people is how many jobs he's already created. I mean, he's created it over, I don't really know how many, but close to 100,000 more jobs than there was before he took office. I mean, he is
It's
making
over a
me.
million. It's over
It's
a
over a
million.
million,
Yeah, it's over a million
Yeah.
now. But the thing is, everybody who doesn't want to give him the credit for it because they're going to say, "Oh, this stuff is all happening because Obama, left behind a great thing."
Shit. When Obama was president, they had to extend unemployment for almost 2 years because there was no jobs.
There was nothing.
But you know what? It's that period in our life is over, and
Thank God.
the sad part about it is the liberals, Democrats are butthurt over Hillary not winning. And here's the thing, folks: believe it or not, people in your neighborhood ain't gonna admit to it, but there's Democrats, a lot of Democrats that voted for Trump.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, they are. They're not going to come out and tell you. They're not going to come out and tell you, folks. They are Trump Democrats, is what they are. That's how he won in Pennsylvania. He
Right, but
never
he's not-
won in Pennsylvania,
right.
and
But they're not
Michigan,
even-
stop it. There was no fucking way
right.
he was going to win in
But
Michigan.
here's the thing: is they're not Trump Democrats. They don't necessarily like Trump. Okay,
Yeah.
but they knew, as human beings, decent human beings, that if Hillary won, the devil was going to be unleashed.
Yeah.
And they couldn't allow that to happen. So anybody that was running against her at that time, shit, even our ex-DJ Talon could have beat fucking Hillary.
Yeah. Definitely could have. Yeah, I could have beaten Hillary.
Right.
I mean, all I had to do was stand up on that stage and breathe down her neck and make her nervous. The one that, everybody wants to discount this, but what won that election from Donald Trump was the night of the debate where she said, "Can you imagine this man as your president?" And he said, what did he say? He said, "If I were, you'd be in prison."
Right.
And that was a Trumpian moment. That was the moment that the tide turned.
Right.
And it wasn't about this fucking thing with the FBI. It wasn't even the thing with Clinton on the tarmac. Okay? That wasn't it. It was Donald Trump standing up there saying, "If I were me, you'd be in prison." That's because 80% of the American people believe she should have been charged with a crime.
Well, because he just says what he was saying stuff like during the election, what the American people were thinking, and he was saying the things. So people were thinking, well, if he's saying the things that I'm thinking, then it must be right. So he won because he was being honest. Or at least he was pretending he was honest if he's not, because he looked honest to me. I remember, hey, I'm going to be honest to you and tell you when this election started way, way, way back, I was kind of a Jeb Bush person.
Right.
And after debates, and I seen how he was just tearing Jeb Bush up and made him look like he was 4 years old. I'm like, that's not even a man to run this country. No, there's no way, And he just cut everybody down,
Yeah, exactly.
Marco Rubio, all of them. He cut them down and made them look like dumbasses.
Oh, yeah.
And
question
criminals.
about it. No question. Yeah, no question about it. He was one of those things that just they couldn't stop. There was no stopping him. I mean, I didn't, to be honest, the election day, I thought he was going to lose.
I did too. I mean, I voted for him. I'm not going to lie. I did. And had hope, but I was so shocked of like how much the numbers were so big, and it was so funny because I was watching CNN and Fox. I was flipping back and forth,
Right.
And Fox is reporting that he's already won, and CNN, we're not going to jump the gun. What? Jump the gun? What? She's got to win every other state, you dumbass.
Yeah. CNN did not want to let it die.
No, not at all.
Did not want to let it die. But when he won North Carolina, and then suddenly he won Florida, I said, "This is it. He's going to win." And then all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden, out of fucking nowhere, folks, he just took Pennsylvania. I said, "That's it. It's over. He wins. He wins no matter what." And then they started talking about, well, he needs to win Michigan. Well, that was right around the fucking corner. And then I'll never forget the look on Megyn Kelly's face when she said, the 45th president of the United States will be Donald J. Trump. And I said, holy crap.
The best one was Rachel Maddow.
Oh, Rachel Mad Cow.
Oh, yeah. You're not in a dream. This is your reality. She said, I actually loved it. I wanted to go out to I live in New York, so every corner bar here is liberal nation. So I just wanted to go in with my Trump shirt and start shit. But then I realized that I can't fight anymore. So
right.
I stayed home.
Well, people went nuts. People did go nuts. They were more in shock. There was no violence. There were no riots that night. There was none of that shit that went on that night. It was like people were just like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I just can't fucking believe it.
It was pretty cool, though. I mean, you know what it was? It was like, I'm not going to say like a common man, because he's not a common man. He's a rich man. But he's common enough to be – he was an outsider. Nobody has ever won before an outsider.
Right.
Never, ever holding a political position. I mean, there's been other candidates that's never been a politician run, like you had Ross Perot, Ralph Nader. These are people that ran that never been, a politician, but they didn't win. Now you have a person who pays taxes and has a say in America being in the office. And I think that that's a cool thing. It's just like the first presidency. George Washington wasn't really a politician when he became president. And Free Ride's either choking right now or sneezing or something. Because
I was choking.
I think it was one.
Yeah. I was choking big time. Yeah. I just trying to do 5 things at once here, and it's not working out. But it's about time that we bring our guest in, and he'll be Mr. Allan Davey, and we've had him on our show before. He's a great guy, and we've been looking forward to the show tonight. And he's quite a guest, and he knows all about music and stuff. And I think we're all going to have a good time tonight. So hang in there, and we'll be right back with Allan Davey. But first, I am going to, if I can find his frickin' phone number.
That's great.
Yeah. I
Awesome.
thought he gave it to me. I know he gave it to me, but it's not here. I'm not seeing it.
Oh, dang nabbit. I lost my glasses.
I lost my glasses. Oh, I found it. Okay.
Oh, there it
All
is.
right. I got it. Okay. All right. We'll be right back. And I'll be right back. We'll be right back with Allan Davey right after this from Allan Davey. This is Head First, KGFRocks.com.
Chris and Ronnie were arguing.
Yeah, I like the way that song ends. That was Head First by Mr. Allan Davey. Allan, how are you, man?
Freaking tired.
You fucking tired?
Oh,
why are you so tired,
yeah,
man? It's early.
Well, no, I'm not tired in that way. I just, oh my God, Jesus, talk about everything in the, shall we say, the cost of death camp is pretty much fucking imploded.
Oh shit.
You know, and it was pretty fucked up. Here we are with a brand new record out. You know, it took us many years to make this record because we all have different projects. Like you just played one of mine, my solo stuff, and we finally get together to finish the record. You know, that was kind of an awkward event in itself. I should have saw the signs then when we were making the record, because, you know, Chris would come in, lay down his guitar parts, lay down his vocals, and then be off and running to do whatever with his band Heretic. And then, you know, Ronnie would come in, you know, on the relay bass tracks that he didn't like that he laid down 4 years ago, or, you know, lay down his vocals, and he'd go do his thing. And the thing is they never were in the studio together. It wasn't until we started rehearsing that I started seeing some serious tension. And It was like, okay, whatever you guys did when we weren't together as a band for the last couple of years, you need to leave it at the door. You need to just be done with it, be gone with it, and let's get on with our lives. I figured that was that, right? Then we started rehearsing, and the tension was getting bad. It was more Chris than it was Ronnie, and I should have seen it then too. And then when we started playing and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, at a certain gig, the opening act walks up and says, "Well, I got bad news for you. Your bass player is lying on the backstage, bleeding through his head, and the ambulance and the cops are on their way. Oh yeah, by the way, your guitar player took all his shit, threw it in the back of his SUV, and took the fuck off."
No way.
What? That's exactly the way it went down. I shit you not. Okay, so everything gets taken care of. So I look at Ronnie, and it wasn't. Chris didn't hit him with one of his guitars. He grabbed one of Ronnie's basses and hit Ronnie with it. Broke his nose, fractured his skull. I think he said there's a hairline fracture in his jaw too.
Jesus Christ!
Well, here's the thing. So, okay. Well, let's speed it up now. I finally get a hold of Chris. I said, first of all, you know, the cops are looking for you. Second of all, you're fucking fired. Third of all, don't be surprised after all this is said and done, Ronnie sues your ass. Okay, With that being said, what the fuck is your major malfunction? And he tells me, okay, you remember when we first started back in 2008, we were just playing cover tunes and we were thinking about finally making a record back then. But I got busy because, the Razor's Edge reunion plus, Greed. I was still touring for Greed and I was starting to work on, and Razor's Edge was starting to record a record and I was finishing the touches what would be the Medicine Man record. So if I wasn't touring, I was recording it. Just the way it was in the early and all the way through the first decade of the 2000s. So I'm like, okay, yeah, your point. He goes, well, you remember that chick Ronnie was dating? It's, yeah, but he dumped her after 3 months, no harm, no foul. From what I understand, they're still friends, and, nobody's pissed off at anybody. Why? What's wrong with that? Well, I started dating her 3 months after that, and we dated for almost 5 years. Oh, shit. Now I see where this is coming, right?
Right.
Okay, Schmecky, what else happened? And he goes, well, we broke up. She went back down to Fort Lauderdale to go stay with her mom before she moved back to Texas. And apparently she had a one-night stand with Ronnie and hooked up with Ronnie.
Good
she got
for
pregnant
Ronnie.
with Ronnie's kid.
Good for Ronnie.
No, not good for Ronnie. So then she goes to Texas. She didn't realize she was pregnant until a month later. I swear to God, it's like a Steve Wilkos show with this band. She goes to fucking Texas. A month later, she finds out she's pregnant as she's trying to work things out with Chris.
No way.
So Chris is going, well, yeah, you're pregnant with another guy's baby. Somebody who I know who I thought was a friend apparently isn't. So go fuck yourself. Have a nice life. Whatever. So that's, yeah. And then when I talked to Ronnie, pretty much the same thing verbatim, so I knew they weren't lying.
Right.
And I was just like, holy fuck. Okay, now I understand why the last few months of being in this band has been like watching the fucking Springer Show.
So did she throw that at
I have a question. What happened to the bass? Is it okay?
You see, that's the thing. I didn't even take a look at the bass. As far as I know, the fucking Clearwater Police still have it as evidence. I don't fucking know.
So
I would sue for damages and the bass.
Right, exactly.
Well, the thing is in Florida that is considered and construed as, depending on how much malice, it can go from a felony assault with a deadly weapon to attempted murder.
Yeah. Yeah. So did they ever pick him up?
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, he's out on bail now, and the other band, it was in Heretic. Heretic, they kicked him out. So yeah, they fired him out too. And he's been in Heretic for almost 30 years.
No kidding. Well, what a way to end a career.
You know what well, here's the part that's fucked up. Okay, and you notice I'm actually kind of snickering at the same time. I'm trying to stay as neutral as humanly possible, but it's hard to. When you're looking at it and you think to yourself in the dead of night and it's quiet, you're thinking to yourself, this is all over some chick that neither one of them are dating.
Right.
Right.
The power of
nor has either one of them have contact with. Yeah. I'm like, really? All I can think of is that old guy on the movie DC Cab going, "Don't let your dick run your life," you know.
Right. Thinking with your Johnson.
Fuck?
It was a piece of ass. Who gives a rat's ass? And she broke up with you. What? So obviously she was fucking around on him the whole fucking time too when she was with him.
So she
the thing is, I only met this chick once, and that was in 2008, right before Ronnie broke up with her.
Right? She gave you a blowjob.
The day I met her, it's funny, is the day I met this chick. I'm not going to mention her name because
it's Yoko.
Cast aspersions.
It's Yoko.
Ronnie fucking pulls me aside, and I'm going. He says, "What do you think of her?" I said, "Well, she's interesting. I never would usually see you with a chick like that." He goes, "Yeah, that's why I plan on dumping her."
Yeah.
Like the day before he dumped her is the day I met her, and I scratched my head when I first met her. I'm going, "What's so special about this dingbat?" It's like, really, And here it is that neither one of them are even dating. Here's a pisser. Neither one of them are even dating this chick. And inadvertently, she's responsible for the implosion of my fucking band.
Well, I'll tell you what.
It's Yoko.
It's just like, fuck.
If he hit him with the bass because he said to him, I just wanted to know how my dick tasted. Then he deserves it. But if,
Yeah, that I would. Yeah, that I would even that I would cause bodily fucking injury. You kidding me?
How's it feel to
But
know
no,
you
seriously
gave,
though. Yeah.
how's it feel to know that you gave me a blowjob by proxy, motherfucker?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, exactly. It's like it is. It's fucking. It's ridiculous though, because here it is. I planned on, now that all of us finally had the time to actually finish the record and actually tour as a band and possibly do another record and actually be a band, I was ready to put my solo career on the shelf for a while, let it collect some dust, and just put out, thrash metal tunes. And I was all geared up and ready to do it and psyched about it, and I couldn't wait to start playing certain metal clubs that I hadn't played in a while and shit like that. I was really, really getting pumped up, and it was great. And, everybody likes the record and say, that's a real hard record, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like this, then all of a sudden, kaboom.
Nothing.
The thing is I talked to Ronnie a couple days ago, and I'm like, if you're feeling up to it, yeah, we can try to pick up where we left off with this band, but I can tell you one thing right now, I promise you, Chris will not be a part of it. Because now I see, I was being fair, trying to be fair and say, well, you both knock it off, both go to your neutral corners, be professional, stop being children. But now that I've seen what I've seen, it's more Chris than it is Ronnie, so I apologize to Ronnie too,
Right.
I realize, what, your only fault is having that one night stands with her and knocking her up. And he goes, yeah, no shit. Oh, he said, his first words was, dude, I should have just done her in the ass.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, she'd taken it, I'm sure. I mean,
yeah, she sounds like the type that would, yeah.
Sweetheart, if you're listening, sweetheart, tonight, which you may very well be, or you may listen to the show at another time, because this is going to get out there.
Here we go.
We need you to snap a picture of your panties. I got to know, are they granny panties or are they thong? The thing is that chick. Well, the thing is, if it gives you any indication when I met her, and I have a pretty good photographic memory, she looked like somebody that you would see on a Saturday night on happy hour working the pole.
Oh, so she's what my father would call a sweat hog.
No, she was totally a stripper. She was a stripper.
Well, I'll take that.
He even said she used to dance at a local establishment here that not only is a strip joint but a pretty good steakhouse, a place called Rachel's. And that's where he met her, was at Rachel's. And I'm like, oh, how rock and roll is that? Yeah, you meet your ex-girlfriend at a fucking strip club, and she just happens to be working on the pole when you met her.
Yeah, so what do you think she's doing? And so that whole 5-year period that they were together, she was, yeah. There's something to that. And then
that's funny you should say that, because I asked Chris, I said, what was she doing that close to 4 or 5 years that you guys were together? He goes, oh, she was still working strip clubs.
Yeah, she was sucking dick out in the parking lot. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying too. I'm saying, did she smell like double mint when she came home?
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know.
I'm sorry, but
she could make like $3,000 a week, dude. You don't understand.
Yeah, that's the sick part about it.
That's the sick thing.
Sick part about it. Yeah,
she supported him with those blowjobs. He ought to be happy as a
not
tick
even
on
if even if she's just stripping in that club, she can make like $3,000 a week.
I'm
not
sure.
kidding.
Yeah.
No, that.
Well, actually, yeah, but then again, in Chris's defense, though, Chris was doing pretty good too. Heretic. Don't get with the Heretic. He was taking home.
Yeah.
When they were, because they played metal festivals and stuff like that in fucking Europe and shit.
Yeah.
He
was on the road.
taking home
What
about
was she
200
doing?
G's a year.
What was she doing?
Yeah, exactly.
This
is what I always tell people back in the day too.
Don't defend her.
Even back in the day, this is what I used to tell guys. I said, listen, don't date or fall in love with groupies. Okay, don't do it.
Just don't do it. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
ask Slash right now. He's looking to lose half of his fortune because he married a groupie 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, that his wife. I heard. Yeah, I heard she says I want some of that new GNR money.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and he's trying to tell. He's trying to tell everybody. His lawyer, I guess, is trying to tell everybody that they were never legally married or some crazy shit.
Yeah. Well, what an insider told me is that the way the split's going for this Guns N' Roses tour is that Axl gets 50%, but he pays all the employees, and Slash and Duff get 50%. But now they're doing it differently. They're hiding money, I think, because they're giving him 20% now, Slash. So I think when it was supposed to be 25%. So I think they're stuffing money somewhere, you know.
Yeah, but but Guido, here's the thing you got to ask yourself. And the minute I saw that they were getting back together, and I heard about the whole situation with Izzy, which I think is a pain, it's just bullshit. Because I'm sorry, but this reunion, the reason why when they came to Orlando, I didn't bother seeing them when they came here to Orlando, because it's only fucking Duff, Slash, and fucking Axl, and then some fucking hobos that have been with guns, been with. I don't even call it Guns N' Roses. I just call it the Axl Rose fucking free for all.
Right.
Come on, Buckethead was in the band, for Christ's sakes. What does that tell you?
But I will say, Richard Ford.
But Bumblefoot was it. Yeah, Bumblefoot was in it too. But Bumblefoot's an awesome guitar player.
And so was Richard Fortis is pretty good too. The one that I'm surprised that didn't stay was DJ Ashba. He said he wanted no fucking part.
No, DJ. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised because I met DJ Ashba. I met, last time I met him and Nikki Sixx when saw him play here. And let me tell you something. He's where he belongs. He's much better off for 6 a.m.
Sure.
They're doing their own shit. It sounds great. And you know what? You don't have that asshole Rose mentality to stink up the fucking stage.
Right. Well, here's what I tell you about the band. I saw him, okay? Izzy should be there. Izzy wrote about 80% of the music of Guns N' Roses.
Oh, yeah, the first record. Oh, yeah,
right,
fuck yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he should be there. But I will say that their new drummer is better than anything they've ever had. And I know I love originality, but Steven Adler's not as good as he used to be after the stroke and all that.
Well, the thing is with Steven Adler, here's the thing that a lot of fans don't realize about that whole Guns N' Roses thing, besides the fact that, just like the Dokken reunion, they're only doing it for the money.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that Dokken thing, because I got a few things to say about Don Dokken, that fucking arrogant asshole. Anyway. The thing is Adler would come on once in a while and play, and even Izzy has come on stage once in a while and played a couple songs during certain parts of that reunion tour.
Yep.
So they're still prevalent within the band. But the thing is, the one that won't, which I'm very, very saddened by, I understand the Steven Adler thing, kind of. And I'm glad to see that him and Axe were getting along again, so where he's actually inviting him on the stage once in a while. Because let's face it, guys, a lot of you guys don't remember, Adler sued Axl for a lot of fucking money. We're talking like $100 million. I would be pissed at the guy too and never want him back. So I kind of, I don't really agree with too much of Axl Rose, but I kind of understand that.
Adler, well, sure, and they settled out of court. So he paid Adler money. We don't know how much, but he definitely paid him millions of dollars of his own money.
Oh, yeah.
There is rumors to the effect. He told. I'm trying to think. It was somebody at K-Rock, because they were talking about that with Eddie Trunk a long time ago. Mm-hmm. That it was over $50 million. They knew that for a fact, that it was over $50 million. But I'm like, yeah, but this is Steven Adler. He probably left that $50 million in the trunk of a Mercedes in a parking garage somewhere, fucking, you know what I mean? It's like,
the thing about the other two is like Matt Sorum and Gilby Clarke are not original, so it doesn't bother me that they're not back. You know what I mean? It's like
I wish. Matt Sorum's got a lot more on his plate, though, and he's got a lot better gigs on his plate than going back to Guns N' Roses.
Oh, he does,
and trying to relive the '90s. I'm surprised he didn't go back. I will say this: I am very shocked that Sorum did not go back to Cult. I'm surprised he didn't go back to the Cult. That shocked me, because the Cult are doing really, really well right now. I saw the Cult live down here, and they were awesome.
Oh, they're doing better now than they have in the past 20 years. They had a lull for a long time.
No, you got to think. Look at Ian Astbury. He was in the 21st Century Doors with Robbie Krieger and Ray Manzarek before Manzarek passed away. I mean, the only one that wouldn't do that, it was too, actually. It was actually very good. I was very impressed. I was saddened that John Dinsmore didn't want any part of it, but I understood. Just like the original bass player Queen won't go back to Queen, even though from what I hear Adam Lambert does a very good Freddie Mercury.
Well, yeah, there are a lot of like.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Without offending anybody, yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah, he is. And I saw a Queen with Paul Rogers. Remember when Paul Rogers was with Queen?
Yeah, I wasn't sold on it. I just go back to Bad Company with Howie.
Oh, I was so bored out of my mind. It was like, Bad Company doing Queen covers, you know. And
now
I don't like this.
Now Todd singing for Queensryche. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, he is better than Jeff Tate. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm a Jeff Tate fan. I am, and
so am I. Yes, so am I. But
he's
Todd Latour is awesome. Did you hear the remake? Did you hear the remake though that he did in with Metal Church when they redid Fake Healer?
Oh yeah, I haven't heard that one.
He sang on it. Oh, you should. It's on YouTube. Oh, it's fucking phenomenal, dude.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I'll have to look that up. And see, here's the thing, though, is Jeff Tate is a prima donna. That's his problem.
Well, Jeff Tate, I think, in a lot of senses, and I kind of understand that because, you know, even though, you know, depending on who you talk to, and you notice Chris DeGarmo, when he said he's out of the business because he didn't. Many people have called him and asked him on his take about the whole Jeff Tate thing, and he's like, "Keep me the fuck out of it," you know. But you know, he has been with them since the beginning, so I understand where he felt what he felt. But at the same time, there's still 3 other original members that are in that band. That, you know, if you want to go founding, well, guess what? Yeah, Chris DeGarmo would still have a vote if he was still in the band. But, you know, Freddie and Michael Wilton, those two, I'm sorry, but yeah, they have just as much stake in that as Jeff Tate did. Yeah, Jeff was the voice. I will give you that. But you know what? Todd, if you shut your eyes and you listen to Todd sing, you think you're listening to the Operation Mindcrime days.
Right, and they did a good job at his replacement, just like, you know, Journey did with Arnel Pinata. They're complementary singers that sound a lot like the original, but also sound like themselves too. You know, at the same point. So it's a good choice because sometimes people go drastic, like when Motley Crue took Vince Neil and turned it a shitty singer into awesome John Corabi singer.
Right.
You know, the thing is Corabi. Yeah, you know what's funny is I was probably one of the only guys back then when that album came out that was waving the flag for John Corabi. Because I didn't see anything wrong with that record. I didn't see anything wrong with that record. And John Corabi, the thing about John Corabi, another reason why I like John Corabi is he didn't have, and he still doesn't have a fucking ego.
No, never. If you see him out,
it pisses me off to see these old singers with egos thinking they can still sing, like Don Dokken. He sucked.
Right.
That whole reunion was obviously, oh God.
I tell you what, though, with the Don Dokken situation, Don Dokken lost his voice in the 90s. His shit was gone back then. But George Lynch has done so much stuff since he left Dokken.
Same with Pilson and same with Brown.
Oh, absolutely. Pilson was in Dio for a while. I know that too. And Brown was he did with everything with Lynch. And I tell you what, one of my favorite Lynch albums is the Lynch Sweet album with Michael Sweet from Stryper.
Oh, they got a new one out actually that just came out. They got a new one that just came out.
Oh, cool.
Actually, are they still working on it? Yeah, you got to hang around YouTube once in a while. You'll be amazed at some of the shit you can pick up now. That's what kind of makes me laugh.
Well,
because
I'm always on YouTube.
But another one too it's funny. Another one I listen to a lot too, besides this show and a few others, is of course Eddie Trunk's brand new show on XM. I mean, if you want to know what's going on with anybody, I swear to God, he's a fucking encyclopedia.
Yeah, Eddie Trunk.
Yeah.
Well, my partner here, he's an encyclopedia too, for Christ's sake. He brings up shit that I just like, what the fuck was that?
Actually, sometimes that happens with some of the guys in my band too. They live with me, so yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I he'll say something and I say, no, that's not true, and he goes, oh yeah, it's true, and I'll look it up, and sure enough, it's fucking true. So as far as music is concerned, this guy here, I gotta say, I'm quite impressed at this conversation.
You know what blows a lot of people's minds, and
the king of useless information.
Yeah, well, not only that, but this is actually historical information. It's not useless at all. I actually saw this and then did a multiple choice for a couple friends of mine to see how really connected they really were with civil rights, and yes, two of them were African American. They thought, I said, I'm going to give you a multiple choice question. Who had the most Jim Crow laws ever in history? Was it A, Mississippi, B, Louisiana, C, Alabama, or D, California?
California.
Yeah.
Yep.
California.
People didn't realize that. And I found out before I even went to college because my dad told me.
Right.
My dad told me that back even in the 60s, if they caught, it's like even in the 60s, in California, out of all places, because he was stationed as a Presidio in San Francisco, he said, I was dating, when he was dating his first wife, my older brother's mother, they would flip over, they would flip over that because she happened to be African American.
Right.
Yeah.
And
that was in California. And I'm like in the home of Haight-Ashbury, one of the most liberal places in the world till this day, and they got pissed about that.
Sure. Yeah, that shows you how the society has changed so much, but it really hasn't, because those laws probably still exist. They just don't follow them.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like blue laws, man. It's like blue laws are the funniest fucking things in the world. And I used to tell people, hey, if you're studying law and you're law students, study the blue laws of your community, because let me tell you something. If they can't hang you up on something that normally they'd hang you on, they'll look at a blue law and try to find a way to fuck you there.
Yeah, it's
like amazed how many.
Yeah, it's like in the military.
Oh, yeah.
And Article 13 covers all articles. What was it? What was that article? It covered all the articles of the Article of Military Justice, and it was
13.
13, and when they would use that against you when they couldn't convict you of anything else. So it was conduct unbecoming a U.S. soldier. Yep. Which was like,
or conduct unbecoming an officer. Yeah. Actually, the Marine Corps was conduct unbecoming a U.S. Marine.
Yeah. Right. And so they would find a way to convict you of something.
Well, the thing is people don't realize, and it's funny. You see all these civilian, and it's like, fuck what you see on TV. I try, it's like telling civilian lawyers, fine, you want to represent this guy, go and represent him. But let me tell you something right now. It's not going to do you a damn bit of good, because military justice and civilian justice are two different things. And military justice, if you're a prosecutor, you're in hog heaven, because military justice is swift.
Yeah, there's no appeals. There's no appeals to the Supreme Court. Once you're, if you get a dishonorable discharge or an undesirable discharge on a yellow piece of paper, you were convicted of a crime and you're a felon.
Yep.
And you're not going to own property, and you're not going to have the right to vote or bear arms. You're not going to have any of the rights that you were bestowed upon before you raised your right hand to uphold the Constitution of the United States. And
people don't realize dishonorable discharges. Yeah,
it's not good. But
people don't realize that.
There's different Article 13s. I mean, Article 13 can be used for anything, like you said. But they're not all like felonies. It's just a way for them to like. You did something wrong. Like if you go out,
it'll get you 90 days.
Are you sure you're not talking about an Article 15?
15. That's 15. Yeah, that's what
It is
15.
maybe it is 15.
I was gonna say,
15, yeah.
that's what I had to stop you. Because I remember when I was like, wait, now he's talking about a 15.
Yeah, 15.
He's
Yeah,
talking
it is
about
15.
and then the full court marshals at Article 32.
In Article 32, right?
Yeah, I never got that 15. I've had once.
I've had the article. I've had where they, a captain's mast, and they.
Davey Captain's Mast. That's basically
Yeah.
confined to quarters.
Yeah,
Unless you're going on duty. Once you get off duty, you're confined back to quarters.
Well, I got.
If you're on a submarine, you're fucked.
Confined to a ship. I was confined to the ship for 90 days. Busted in rank. I mean, they can bust you all the way down. They don't need a court martial.
Nope.
They've got the Article 15. They take you before the captain, and the captain imposes a sentence and says, "Do you have anything to say?" And it's not in your defense. It's, "Do you have anything to say?" All you can say is, "Sorry, Captain. What else can I say? I'm sorry. You're going to sentence me no matter what I say. So let's get it over with. Let's get it done." And he gives me 90 days.
Might as well say fuck you.
No, I'm not going to say that to my captain.
No, because then that's conduct unbecoming a United States sailor.
Yeah.
You won't just get a captain's mast by that time.
No, you'll get a court martial on that one. That'll get you a court martial.
Oh, yeah, you will.
Yeah.
And
I
learned,
disrespect your captain. You don't want to disrespect him.
So quickly in Army basic training that you are not going to beat the drill sergeant.
Hell no.
Nope.
Hell no. You're not going to beat any of them. You're not going to beat your CO. You're not going to be able to beat the XO. You're not going to be able to beat anybody, man. You're done.
Well, the thing that makes me laugh is, like I said, my dad was career military, and a lot of my friends, like one of my closest and dearest friends, spent 23 years in the Marine Corps, retired a gunnery sergeant. And the thing is, he said the same thing. Basic training now is kind of a joke because they have that stupid stress card. Like, oh, you can't make me do that because I have my stress card.
Oh,
I'm
my God. Oh, that's...
Dude, really? You want to see how fast that stress card gets shoved up your ass?
Listen,
oh, my God.
I was in basic training in 1992, okay? There was no fucking card. There was no... There was nothing. There was nothing.
Nope.
No, they treated you like dirt, and they treated you like crap, and it used to be a rite of passage. Being through boot camp, no matter which service you chose, it was a rite of passage, and you went through hell for 6 or 9 weeks, depending on what it was. And when I
Marine
joined
Corps, it's 14 weeks.
Yeah, it's just like it's. You have earned your right to be a Marine or a sailor.
How much is it in the Navy? How many weeks?
I think it's
I think
it's 9 weeks in the Navy. I think they reduced it to 6 weeks now.
It was
the Marine Corps. My last time I was talking to a buddy of mine, Greg. Like I said, Greg Carter. Just retired a gunnery sergeant. I think it's like 14 weeks now. For the Marine Corps.
Yeah, when I was in the Army.
The easiest one, everybody said the easiest one. And it's funny because everybody who's ever had a layover on an Air Force base will tell you that. They'll say, I joined the wrong branch of service once they go on an Air Force base because they realize how easy the Air Force really have it. They get the best, with the exception of the Navy, they get the best fucking food. They have the best technical jobs. The Navy and the Air Force are the ones that, if you're into IT and stuff, you want to get a good job when you get out of the military. Those are the two branches you want to be a part of.
Well,
a lot of the intelligence officers come from the Air Force, and
the Navy,
yeah.
Well, the thing about the Navy is with all these ship collisions and stuff, a while back they got rid of a rate called the signalman. Mm-hmm. Now I was a signalman in the Navy. And I was up on that signal bridge, and my primary job was to be a lookout. And since they eliminated the signalman rate, they've had more collision than in the entire time of the Navy. Yeah. Because they don't have that extra set of eyes up on the bridge. And a lot of people are getting killed because they don't have a guy on watch. Hey, man, I got busted sleeping on the job. I fell asleep on the signal bridge on watch. I damn near got court-martialed for it. They let me slide. Only because I would pull in port and starboard, and I was in the middle of my second shift. Port and starboard is 12 hours. 12 hours on, 12
Yep.
hours off. But I did 12 hours plus I did an extra 6 because the guy that was supposed to come and relieve me was sick. Okay, so I would pull an extra watch. That's the only reason why they let me slide. But I nodded out while I was on watch, and you don't do that, man. All of those lives depend on you to be awake and to be vigilant and to have a set of eyes on the horizon at all times. And
well, that's the thing, though. You look at the military. You look at the military though in the last 20 years. And I talked to all my friends who've gotten out of the military, who joined the military when we all graduated high school. They didn't want to go to college yet, so they joined the military. Some of them became lifers. Like a good friend of mine, Scott Parker, he stayed in the Air Force, up until he was diagnosed with cancer almost 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the same thing. He's like, first of all, when both wars were going, full force in Iraq and in Afghanistan, they needed all the help they could get. They weren't being too choosy anymore.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But now, where there's such a reduction in the defense budget, and they're cutting back now, even though now he wants to invade everything, that's usually the case, But then the Democrats got their wish, and they finally cut the defense budget, so everybody could have free cell phones.
Right.
Now they say they can be picky again, but it's like I've seen some of the people. It's like, really?
Yeah, I know. It has
You
been
can
different.
be picky, and this is what you got? Really?
I know. Well,
Fuck this, man. I'm putting a 20-foot fence around my house, and I'm going to put a 50 cal on my doorstep. It's like, fuck this shit.
Well, society is not like it used to be. Back in the 40s, every boy wanted to join the military, back in the 50s. And then after...
every boy knew that they were boys and didn't know if they wanted to be girls or not.
That's true, too. But, yeah. Did you see that thing where Gene Simmons got yelled at? He didn't even say it, that he said he was banning transgenders from the KISS Army.
Yeah, I didn't hear that, but you know what? Gene Simmons is, it's funny is every time Gene Simmons, feels that America's not giving him enough attention, he does stupid shit like says, I'm going to, trademark the devil horns. Well, first of all, fuck knuckle. That's an old Italian hand gesture that, even Ronnie James Dio, who was actually born in my hometown of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, we have a statue adorning him now. But I'm like, that's called a Maloik, fuckhead. It's either to give you the evil eye or to prevent you from getting the evil eye, okay?
Right.
First and foremost. So if you want to piss off Italy, be my guest, okay?
Mr. Cordova
Second of all,
told us that.
Yeah. And it's like, second of all, why are you still even relevant as a band anymore? Paul can't sing anymore worth a shit.
Not at all.
Okay, granted, Tommy Thayer is a great guitar player. He was great, he was great in a couple of bands.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric Carr, oh my God, ever since he was in Badlands, I always thought he was an awesome drummer. But why are they wearing Peter and Ace's makeup? Why didn't they have different characters like, Eric Carr did and like Vinnie Vincent did? Why does Eric Singer have Peter's makeup and why is Tommy dressed as Ace? That's the only thing that, even, Eddie Trunk, a lot of us think the same thing. It's stupid. It's obvious you're just doing this, because Gene and Paul want a couple more million in their pocket before they really call it a day, because let's face it, they're almost in their 70s. Peter Criss doesn't play drums at all anymore because his hands are messed up. So he finally retired, played his last live show a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing though. Him and Paul Stanley and Ace Frehley did do a pretty good song together called Fire and Water. And they did a video for it, and now Ace is going to be working with Gene. So it goes to show that the whole thing of them hating each other is totally not truth because they hate each other. Why are they working with each other on on Ace's projects?
Right.
But at the same time, you know, the only thing I could think of, and I said that when I called in Eddie Trunk's show a long time ago. I said, did you ever think that maybe Ace and Peter are getting paid, even though they're not in the band anymore, because that is their makeup, so therefore they're getting royalties on it anyway, and that's why they don't give a fuck, and that's why they don't say anything?
Right. Well, they definitely are. Well, Ace Frehley definitely is. I think Peter Criss sold the Cat image to them, but they lease it from Ace Frehley, and I don't know what he's getting paid out. But you know, the thing of it is a lot of people don't give a shit that Peter Criss is not involved with Ace Frehley or with Kiss, but a lot of people are upset that Ace Frehley is not in Kiss still.
Yeah, but at the same time, you got to think too. It's like, you know, I can tell you one thing right now. I doubt Kiss will ever, you know, Kiss are like, oh, we're getting hopped up. We want to make another studio record. I'm thinking to myself, why?
Right.
Sonic Boom was a sonic bomb. Psycho Circus was a complete total debacle. That thing sucked. Waited all those years for all the original members to get in the studio and make a great record, and they came out with that.
But they only played all on one song. That's the problem, is they didn't all play on that album. It was the Gene and Paul album, and they had studio musicians, and the only song they all played on was Into the Void, the Ace Frehley song.
Yeah. Which is, and then they had to go and play that stuff live. And yes, I did go see the Psycho Circus tour live, and I'll be honest with you. I was just as disappointed with that as I was when the record came out.
Yeah,
I mean, that
was the 3D spectacular, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You know, it's funny. The only thing that was cool about the Psycho Circus CD is you could put it into your CD drive of your computer, and it took you right to the original Kiss website. Where obviously you could buy stuff. You know, let's face it. You know, every time I see Gene Simmons, I think of Spaceball 2, The Search for More Money. You know, it's the same fucking thing, and it's, you know, not the stereotype because my wife is Jewish.
Right.
But it's just like, there comes a time, and this is what I always tried to avoid in my career, all these years that I've been playing, and playing professionally since the age of 13. Everything I've ever done, I always said that, you know, if I ever become like some of these people where you become, like, case in point, Foreigner needs to just pack it in. I'm sorry, Mick Jones, pack it in. You're not even playing most of your shows anymore. Come on.
No, he's not.
You got a pitch hitter. You know, it's like Babe Ruth. You know, he hit it, and then somebody else would run the bases. It's kind of the same principle. And like, if I ever got like that where I become a parody of myself, it's time to hang it up and try something else, because I had news for you. The fans of whatever genre that you play, with the exception of those Justin Bieber and those pop idiots that are fickle, that, you know, they have, I'm sorry, but let's face it, when it comes to certain genres of music, especially when it comes to the American music market in general, your MTV, your VH1s and stuff like that, I'm sorry, but America has a very short attention span.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
so,
the attention span went away a long time ago when it comes to rock. Yeah, that's
well. I think Grace Slick said it best in an interview. Somebody asked her one time why she doesn't perform anymore, and she goes, "Well, I don't know about you, but I don't want to see an old lady singing rock music."
No, and she was very right. You know, the thing is, I'm 45 now, and yes, I mainly play instrumental stuff, so I've got a few more years left of me there. Metal-wise, you know, yeah, there's no more Razor's Edge stuff because, you know, after Ian passed away. Allan Davey band stuff, you know, my fusion band, maybe not. But, you know, instrumental stuff, definitely. But metal-wise, you know, that's another reason why I was so serious about putting my solo career on the shelf for a while, is because I'm like, if this is going to be, you know, my last big, you know, death metal project, I'm going to make it a good one and focus all my time on it. And then look what happens.
You know, there's
Spinal Tap on acid. You know?
I don't know though. Listen, Iron Maiden is a bunch of old dudes, and they still kick ass.
Well, the thing is that's the thing. Maiden, which, in all due purposes, is the Steve Harris project.
Absolutely.
But you know what? It's one of the only times where I've seen that work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's because
Judas Priest is another one.
Yeah, that's because the rest of the band allows it. They just, okay, I'm here for the ride. We're still going to keep the ride. As long as the ride is still moving, I'm staying on. As long as we're selling albums, as long as we're selling tickets, that's all that matters. I'm on this train and I'm staying on it.
Well,
it's the same with the Rolling Stones and everybody else.
That's true in most bands, but in Iron Maiden, if Steve Harris left, it would be over because he's the sound of Iron Maiden. He writes.
Well, not only that, he owns the name Iron Maiden, so they would have to call themselves something else,
Yeah.
And basically, what they'd wind up being, even though, well, technically, Dave Murray, Steve Harris, technically, are the only original members of the original. The only original members of Maiden.
Yep.
When you really think about it, I mean, because the drummer finally succumbed to a lot of ailments. It wasn't just his MS. He had just a lot of ailments. And what's funny is, don't get me wrong, I love the first two records. I remember when my Uncle Mickey introduced me to the first two Maiden records when I was a kid.
With Paul
Iron Maiden
Di'Anno.
Killers with Paul Di'Anno, and I forget the guitar player's name, but he, one of the most normal guys in the world, was the one that Adrian Smith replaced, because he reminded me of the original guitar player for Whitesnake before even John Sykes.
Oh shit! Now you're making me think. What was that? Bernie Marsden? What was his name?
Yeah.
From Whitesnake.
Bernie Marsden. Yep. You got it, brother.
Yeah.
People don't realize him, Alan Holdsworth, and John Sykes are the main reasons why I play guitar.
Yeah.
And I get into verbal almost. I used to get into verbal and almost physical fist fights with people to tell them, listen, no, Vivian Campbell and that hump Adrian Vandenberg did not play anything on the Whitesnake album, the 87 release. That was all fucking John Sykes.
Not one lick. Not one.
Nope.
Adrian Vandenberg did do on the
even Vandenberg. The only time Vandenberg did any. Yeah, and then when the only time Vandenberg ever did fucking anything on Slip of the Tongue was when he was trading off after Steve Vai did all the guitar work. Steve Vai did all the guitar work for Slip of the Tongue, and you could tell it was Steve Vai just by his guitar tone. And then all the overdubs were done by fucking Vandenberg. But Vandenberg at least did some co-writing with David Coverdale on those. But the thing is, oh yeah, even Tommy Aldridge goes, nope, 87 it was me. Rudy Sarzo had already joined the band. A lot of the vocals were actually done by Sykes as well as, before Coverdale, because they sound so much alike. And then when you heard the Blue Murder record, you could see it. But it's like, no. Vivian Campbell was he was fulfilling something with, he was finishing off some contractual obligation. It wasn't with Dio, because he had been out of Dio for like almost 2 years. Because you remember Craig Goldie had already replaced River Dogs was after Whitesnake. River Dogs came out in '88. Yeah, that was an awesome album though. That first record kicked ass.
It did.
I started gaining respect for Vandenberg after that. For Vivian Campbell. I was so pissed off when he left Dio, but then I listened to Craig Goldie and I'm like, never mind, Dio's fine. Besides that, do you know how many people? And then it was even better when my buddy Rowan Robinson got the gig. When Rowan got the gig, I was like, holy shit.
Right.
Because
18, wasn't he?
Yes, we were both. He turned 18 3 months before I did.
Wow.
And I bumped into him in East Hollywood because, we had played a gig at the Troubadour. and then I was going to go to GIT to do to actually hang out in a seminar that Frank Gambale was teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I bumped into Rowan. And I'm like, hey, dude, it's been a while. I haven't seen you in like fucking months. How's it going? He goes, I got it. I go, we got what? He goes, oh, I'm down the street recording with Ronnie. I'm like, Dio? He says, yeah. He actually took me down there to go, to see Ronnie again and all that stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome.
Well,
it's like the kid.
Yeah. Actually, Lock Up the Wolves is my second favorite Dio album after. It's such a great album, and he shredded on that. And I'm surprised that he didn't continue with him. There was a lot of reasons why he didn't continue, and it had nothing to do with him not getting along with Ronnie either. Right. Well, he went to Sabbath after that album, I think. Back to Sabbath after that.
He also went and joined not Hurricane. What band was that he joined? Oh, Bang Tango.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Bang Tango, and by the way, he did an amazing job with Bang Tango.
Yep.
I just couldn't believe that the singer from TNT, the former singer from TNT, was in Skid Row for a while. That was mind blowing. I wish he would have stayed.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I loved TNT. That was such a great band. There was another band. There were so many bands, including mine, that didn't get enough love back in the 80s. Anyway. No, because we refused to wear spandex, refused to tease our hair, refused to wear makeup, and refused to look like the same bitches that we were fucking.
Yeah, why would you want to look like the bitch you're fucking?
Exactly.
Well,
I have long hair, but that's... No. This is another thing that used to piss me off. Here's the thing. Oh, yeah. Zach actually is funny because he actually said this in an interview. He said this to me one time. I went to go hang out with him when I went to see BLS play in Tampa. He's like, yeah, dude, I didn't know if to punch myself in the face or fist my prostate, so I did both.
Yeah,
he said the same thing. He hated it too because he was people don't realize when you get down to the dirt, with the exception of Sabbath and stuff like that, Zach is like a Southern rock guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Even though he's from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Even though
at least he didn't like Bon. At least he didn't like John Bon Blow-Me. That's all I cared about.
Well, no, I'll tell you what, Zach Wild to me is the closest thing Ozzy ever got to the Black Sabbath sound. Yeah.
Well, think about the best guitar tone Zach ever had, and I told him this, was the first two records he did, No Rest for the Wicked, and then the Just Say Ozzy EP, the live EP.
Oh yeah.
Because he had JCM 800s that were modified by Lee Jackson when Lee Jackson first started Metaltronics. And the thing is his tone back then was just so cool, it was so raw, and it was him. You could tell that every time, even with No More Tears, and the Live and Loud record, you could tell it was him.
Yeah.
And then when he did Nobody, and then you saw his southern, rocked him, if you will, when he came out with Pride and Glory.
One of my favorite albums ever.
Yeah, because he had what's his face, Joe Lamenza from White Lion, the bass player from White Lion, and
was it Brian Tichy? Was it Brian Tichy?
Yeah, it was Brian Tichy on drums.
Yeah,
Brian Tichy.
And that was a great
band. Brian Tichy was also the first drummer of BLS too, Black Label Society.
Yes, he was. And Lomenzo was in there for a very, very short time too. I think he.
Yeah, and you remember before it was Pride and Glory, it used to be called Leonard Skinhead.
Right, Leonard Skinhead. That's right. Yeah,
Leonard Skinhead. Nice.
Well, Zach Wild is like on my top 10 guitarist list. And
he's also one of the funniest guys. As a matter of fact, I'm drinking Zach's. He's also a great entrepreneur now. I'm actually drinking out of one of his cups that he sent me, and drinking my favorite Valhalla Java Odin Force blend, Death Wish coffee.
I want to get one of his Wild guitars, man, because those look badass.
Yeah, the Odin is. I do like the Barbarian. The one looks like an SG. That one actually plays nice. They actually have a new one that's the Barbarian, the Black Barbarian. There's no, bullseyes. So that's why I like it. The Warhammer, yeah. But I love the V. I love the Viking. That's the one I like the most out of the Zach Wild ones. I like the Viking. It plays really nice. It kind of reminds me of that Dave Mustaine Jackson that came out when Dave Mustaine was getting ready to buy Jackson. And then Thunder brought it out from under him. Yeah, it plays just like that, and that's the one I like the most. I haven't tried one of his heads in his cabinets yet, and I'm kind of looking forward to it because I don't like any of the new Marshalls, with the exception of the some of the Plexi reissues and the JDM1. Because even the 800s and the 900 reissues, you could tell they're using different resistors and different capacitors and different diodes. They just don't sound as good as my vintage ones that, you hurry on the records and shit.
Well, they're mass producing to make a machinery. Back then, those people made that shit.
If you want to know who makes the real Marshalls till this day, the good ones, you got to look up guys like Germino, Splawn, he was a good friend of mine, Craig Splawn. Another one too, is believe it or not, is what's the name of that fucking Black Star? Because all the guys who used to make the amps for Marshall in Great Britain are now making Black Star amps in the same factory, same plant, same people.
Cool.
Yep.
And I still the vintage, like John Fogerty still uses his Marshall amp that he used at Woodstock. I mean,
the Plexi that he had, Plexi, that's 68. It's a 68 model 1989 SLP Super Lead Plexi. That thing is fucking ball. Yeah. And the thing is, he said the only thing he's changed is the resistor.
Wait. Leave it to a fucking rock. Leave it to a rockster. I don't know how to put it. To make an amp sound like a 1968 Chevy. I mean, a Marshall.
No, but
amp.
The Super Lead. It's called the it's called the SLP Super Lead Plexi. That's what and the reason why they call those advanced Plexis is because of the front part, the gold part, that you see in the front of the amp, is made out of a special plexiglass. It had nothing to do with the sound, contrary to popular belief. I've got 3 Plexis of my own. And they're expensive too. I guarantee you that head that John Fogerty has right now, not because it belongs to John Fogerty, but because it's an original 68 or 67 Plexi, it's probably worth about $12,000 just for the head.
Yeah, and he still uses it. He doesn't have it stored away. He fucking uses it. Yep.
He's got a lot of Vox amps too that they don't make anymore, and it's funny because the new Voxes do not sound as good as those old Voxes do. Even Brian May says, no, I keep my old Voxes at home. They never go on tour. Fuck no. He says, hell, the one that I the AC30 that I got as a kid, he says, is now, of course, he's saying, in pounds, he says, that thing's worth about 40,000 pounds now. So now things staying right there.
Yeah, and I don't blame him too. But John Fogerty's one of those. He's from San Francisco, but he thinks he's like a Bayou boy who's a good old boy.
Yeah.
And to him, that's the best sounding amp. I'm not going to sell it. I'm going to use it.
Yeah, he also used. I remember when he did that awesome solo record he did in the '80s. He also was using. With like Put Me In Coach and all that cool stuff.
Centerfield.
Centerfield.
Yeah.
He was using vintage Fender Basements from like 1959. He was using 65 blackface Fender Fender 212 twins. He was and not to mention he was using a real 55 Black Beauty Les Paul Custom, which is worth about $400,000 now. But yeah. He's using the real shit. He wasn't using no fucking. Oh, look at the reissues that we're gonna stuff the consumer with an $8,000 bill. No, he had the real fucking shit. Fuck you.
Now, didn't John Fogerty's brother pass away?
Yes, he died.
Yes, he did. Tom Fogerty died.
Transfusion.
Yeah, wasn't it like 20 years ago or something?
Yeah. He got a blood transfusion and it was tainted.
Tainted blood transfusion.
Yep.
But did they or did they not make amends before he passed away?
They did make amends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always
That, you know,
wondered
that's
about
that's the tragic part, because, you know, yes, the Led Zeppelin thing, but you and I could never. It's like when the Police reunited, we all wanted to see it, yeah, but we know we could never afford the $250 tickets for the leader seats.
Yeah.
Same with Led Zeppelin's reunion. The Dokken one, give me a fucking break, whatever.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses.
But you know what? I'm a fuck. You know, I'm a rocker and I'm a metalhead. See, that's the thing. I never liked pop music, even when I was a little kid, because I had this cool uncle who was 10 years older than me, exactly to the day. You know, he was born in '61. Right. I was born in '71. He graduated class of '79. I got class of '89 from the same high school. He's the one who introduced me to hard rock. You guys in the '70s used to call it acid. Well, guys in the '70s used to call it acid rock. But he introduced me to real shit like AC/DC, Blue Oyster Cult. Everybody asks me what's the first Judas Priest record you ever heard of. Usually they say, oh, British Steel or Painkiller or, you know, whatever.
Right.
I'm like, no, the first one I ever heard of, I was fucking 6 years old and I was listening to Rock and Rolla.
Yep.
Rock and
I actually have the Rock and Roll, the original one with the bottle cap.
Yeah, actually, I do have it because I got all of his stuff, and I actually have all of his vintage guitars too. That's another thing too. He introduced me to the cool shit. Mm-hmm. That's cool. That's what's great about having a teenager as an uncle when you're a little kid, because you're like, you know, you're getting exposed to, you know, awesome fucking shit. And then when Maiden and Judas Priest, you know, and British Steel. He bought one copy for him and one copy for me when it first came out.
Right. Wow. But you know what?
My 10th birthday, I got, Yeah,
it's amazing how somebody can influence your life. Like when I was younger, I was born in '74, and I had an older cousin, you know, and like I remember, you know, him first showing me Kiss and Van Halen and Aerosmith and all this shit, and I'm like, wow, you know, and it blew my mind.
So
you know?
Did you have the same ear infection that I did when you first heard 1984?
You know what?
That was a nightmare. That was a nightmare. No.
That album to me is like, it's hard to say because there's a couple songs.
You can't even say it. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, no shit.
No, there's two songs on there that I think are the best songs they ever did. Drop Dead Legs and Top Jimmy are amazing too.
Yep, I was gonna say Top Jimmy was good. Yes.
That's the only good song on the album. Yeah.
But what happened is Van Halen came out of the gate firing. Then they did their second album, which went a little bit popish. So then they tried to get harder, which they did succeed because Women and Children first and Fair
it was the beginning of the end for David Lee Roth with Diver Down. Personally,
sure, Diver Down.
There was a lot of cover tunes on that fucking album.
Yeah,
but then there was also Little Guitars, which was a great fucking song.
Yeah. But it still has the most iconic Van Halen song ever with Happy Trails. I don't know why people love that song.
Yeah, they used to play that at the end of because I graduated in I don't know what year you graduated. Well, you were born in '74, so you graduated what, 93, 92?
92. Yeah.
I graduated in '89. So when I was a junior, you were a freshman.
Yep.
And you know what? I'm not even going to go there. But tell me something.
Free I already had children.
Yeah, I already had kids in '92. So I had kids in '82. I had my first son. First son was born in '81. So yeah, he's 36 now. I have 16 grandchildren, but I go back to Blue Oyster Cult. You mentioned Blue Oyster Cult. Now, Blue Oyster Cult. You actually heard. He turned you on to Telepaths and stuff like that, right? He didn't turn you on
he turned me like Burning.
Yeah.
No, the one that really irked me.
Hot Rails to Hell.
Oh, You see, that's the thing. It's the thing. It's like when one of the first songs he ever taught me how to play, everybody was shocked when I tell him, because I still play it to this day. And no, it's Don't Feel the Reaper, but it's like when the first song I ever learned was Dreams I'll Never See from Molly Hatchet.
From Molly Hatchet, right?
And here's this 8-year-old sitting there cranking up a Les Paul in a Marshall Plexi, going, and all these kids in the neighborhood going, "That's Allan." And it was funny because I was lanky, but that Les Paul was big on me. It was heavy too. It was fucking heavy.
Right.
And it was I'm
sure it got easier as time went by.
Well, the thing is I didn't know what year that Les Paul was until my 10th birthday, and my uncle gave it to me. He says, "Keep this guitar, keep this guitar, keep this guitar." I'm like, "Why?" He goes, "Because I got that guitar the year you were born. That's a 71 Les Paul Custom, and I still have it."
Well, the first time I saw Blue Oyster Cult, they were here in St. Louis, and they did a show with Alice Cooper. And I got to go see Alice.
That must have been a fucking ripping show, though.
That was
because that was
awesome
with the original lineup.
Awesome show.
That must have been with the original lineup.
When they played 7 Screaming Disbusters, they had all of the members of the band out front with these Stratocaster guitars, and they were all jamming together, all 6 of them, because at that time there was 6 in the band, and they all stood up there and just rocked this without drums, and and it was just. The vibration was so heavy. When they finished up their set and Alice Cooper came back on, even Alice Cooper came out and said, "Fuck, they're great."
Yeah.
It was a great show. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing I try to tell people too. It's like everybody goes, it's like, well, you got to remember too. Like I've been listening to real hard rock since literally since like the age of 4 on, because of my Uncle Mickey and stuff, and then all the people that around me. And like I remember being 8 years old, getting a hold of my dad's "Are You Experienced?" Jimi Hendrix "Are You Experienced" record, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm like, why ain't anybody sounding like this anymore? And then I heard the first Van Halen record. I was like, and I was 7 years old when it came out in '78, and my uncle had just bought it. He goes, and he's cranking it up, and he's with his then girlfriend at the time. And this is another thing too. I was a chick magnet from my Uncle Mike. I was a chick magnet.
You're better than a fucking puppy, dude. You're better than a
puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God, he's a little rocker, and he looks like you. Yes, you're going to score once we put him to bed,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, too,
did you get any hand-me-downs from him? No hand-me-downs?
Actually, yes. I got my first leather jacket. No, my first leather jacket that I ever got when I was 14, I got from him. It was his. And it still looked cool then as it did. And the thing is what was sewn in the back of it was still just as, awesome when I was in high school as it was when he was in high school. And you know what it was?
What?
It was the Swan Song emblem, and, Led Zeppelin. He had that patch sewn in the back. And cool. People obviously were still Zeppelin fans. Even in the 80s, people were Zeppelin. Even the kids were still Zeppelin fans. It's funny. And that's the thing. You're not going to ever hear anybody say that about Justin fucking Bieber or Taylor fucking Swift.
No, he's going to die in a
You're never going to hear them say, "They're just as timeless back when I heard them when we were kids with these kids today." No, you're never going to hear that. Well, Zeppelin will always be timeless. And the reason why is because, hey, we don't use computers. And same with, hopefully with me, people say that about me someday. Yeah, because Allan actually played his instruments. Allan didn't actually just record a whole record on a computer and say, "Here you go."
Right. Well, I was the same
way. You can do that, but then you can't. But when you can't deliver, what are you going to do when you have to go on tour and you can't deliver?
Right. But see, the kids of the 80s had it better. Like the kids like you and I grew up were in the 80s. We had my jean jacket that I wore had a Twisted Sister patch on the back, but on the front it had the Doors and the Stones. I mean, so I listened to everything. We were much more well-rounded.
Actually, my jean jacket, I think, I had several. I had two jean vests, one black and one, acid wash blue. And then one black jean jacket and then one acid wash blue. And the black jean jacket was strictly for, it had Metallica, Testament, Megadeth, you know what I mean? Obituary, Overkill. It had all, had all those metal patches on it. And then the blue one is the one I kept classic. That's the one that had the big, in the back it had a big Led Zeppelin patch, and in the front it had, I think Molly Hatchet on one side, Motley Crue on the other. Because I never considered Motley Crue metal. I never would. That's what pisses me off. When people go, when I say, "Oh, you listen to metal? Who do you listen to?" And they say Cinderella, Poison, Motley Crue. I'm like, those aren't metal bands. Those are just good rock bands. I would never down them and say, "Oh, they're cock rock bands" or whatever. This whole hair metal. There's no such thing. They're not metal bands. They were just good party bands, good hard rock bands. They are not metal. Metallica. See, I am metal. I am in a metal band, and these are metal bands. And I'd show them, look at my jacket, observe, engage your photographic mind.
Yeah, think about
well,
it.
Yeah, there's a big difference between Motley Crue and Exodus, and I mean it's just Motley Crue. Like
yeah, but the problem is, as much as I love Exodus, man, they changed way too many band names.
Yeah, but even Eddie Trunk has said that don't label the 80s music hair metal because it ruins the integrity of the music.
Exactly. It ruins the integrity. Hey, listen, you want to take a quick break and come back?
Yeah, I got to pee.
Flippin'
Yeah, you want to take a piss? Okay, hey, that's a good idea. We're gonna do another song from Allan. This is another Taken from Allan. But
nice.
When we come back, today is the anniversary of Stevie Ray Vaughan's death, and of course the floods.
I know.
And of course the floods in Houston. Is he pissing all over Houston? You never know. Is that a coincidence? I don't know, man. I don't know. But as we all know, he was from Houston. But we'll be right back. This is KGFRocks.com, and this is the Conjugal Visitors. We'll be right back with our guest, Allan Davey. We'll be right back. KGFRocks.com. Another Taken, and that was a killer tune there from Allan Davey. That's one of your solo projects, right?
Yeah, actually, that one was off of the last solo record I did before finishing off the Cost of Death record. So that was off of Guitarology.
Yeah, and you've got a new album. You've got a new album out, right?
Well, I got a new album out with Cost of Death that's still out, even though we're not touring for it any longer because the band went and exploded,
Right.
Imploded. But I haven't decided whether I'm going to just jump in the studio while Ronnie is recuperating, because he has to have some surgeries done. He has to get a rhinoplasty to rebuild his nose, basically.
Right.
I can't put it in any more simpler terms than that, unfortunately.
Wow.
But yeah, before we did the show, before I came on the show today, I was flipping through some stuff that I had been working on and seeing how complete those tunes are, just in case,
Right.
But because honestly, when I said, in the press release that I put on AllanDavey.net and on the music page on Facebook and stuff like that, that was the last, whatever, because of, infighting in the band. The thing is now, Ronnie, has pretty much said, well, if we can find another guitar player, who plays as good as you and can actually sing death metal and actually sing regular, go from, a growl to, not just Tate, but, something close to
a
that.
Ballad, closer to a ballad, right?
No ballad shit, no. Ballad and Cost of Death do not mix, okay?
Yes,
No.
yeah.
But, that's up there with texting and driving. But no, it's like somebody who could just sing a regular metal tune or sing a death metal tune. He wouldn't begrudge us keeping this thing together, and that's still an option, but we still don't know yet because of everything that's going on, and now there's possibly legal shit that's going to be going on now too.
Right.
So we have to keep all that in mind, but at the same time, Craig and I are sitting down and going, hey, let's call the rest of the guys, and maybe do some more dates. It's, Guitarology. Yeah, it's been out since 2015 or 2016. Let's, do some more dates supporting that and
try and revive
that
some of
up again. Yeah. And, so that's an option too. And then the other option was, I have another side project called Inception, and I talked to a couple of those guys, once, they're done with their separate projects. Because that's the thing. My side projects are weird because, and the same with the guys in my solo band, we all have different other projects in the can or that we work on once in a great while, once in a blue moon. So getting, like, with the Cost of Death thing, the reason why it took so long to get this record out was because getting us all in the same zip code, first of all,
right,
was almost impossible because, like I said, with Chris with his band Heretic, he was doing European tours and stuff like that, as was Ronnie. Ronnie was touring Canada, touring South America. He was doing Metal Fest too. I was doing, because I had taken, as I'd taken like 4 years off completely. And the guys in my solo band, including Craig, who is spending his time getting sober and has been sober for like the last 5 years, which I totally praise him on, and getting, their projects, separate projects that they work with. So it's all of us, it's the thing is what project I'm working on it depends on whether the people that are in that band are free to actually sit down and actually create, record, and possibly tour, because everybody's in different bands because we do this for a living. And like, if I'm not touring and I'm not recording, like the last 5 years, I was teaching.
Yeah.
So,
okay. We all got to make a living, right? We all got to make a living.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially if you're in rock and roll today. If you're not out there making a
oh,
living,
yeah, man.
Dude.
Well, people don't realize.
You're going to starve.
That's the thing. People don't realize. royalties, you're not going to make billions and billions of dollars on royalties.
Not anymore.
First of all,
not.
1 point is 8 cents. One point equals 8 cents. So if you have an 8 point, let's keep it simple in the math. You got a 5 point deal, a 5 point deal, which sucks and blows. Okay, that's 40 cents. That's 40 cents per CD or per album sold. And that's 40 cents. You got to pay your band. You got to pay your taxes. Your agent gets 15%. I mean, he gets 10%. Your manager gets 15%. Or if you do the same thing that I do, with your manager and your agent are the same person, that's 20% you kicking up to him. Plus, if there's any legal things, you have to pay your lawyer. You have to pay your taxes.
Right.
Yeah, people don't realize that the money is from touring and merchandise. That's why.
Oh yeah.
That's why the members.
And even then you're getting robbed, because the promoter and the venue owner, they're getting a cut of that merchandise too.
Right.
And your record label.
That's why, like, Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons are in the 300 million range, not because they sold a bunch of records, because they really didn't, but they mass merchandise the fuck out of everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that's always saved me in the 80s and in the 90s, especially in the 90s when things were slowing down, I was going through a lot of drama, failing marriage and a bunch of other crazy bullshit. We had a bunch of guys in a band together that weren't talking to each other since 91, but the only time we'd see each other was in, civil court of law. And, you lawyers are getting paid. So any money you saved to raise a family and buy a house and do all this stuff is dwindling, because you're suing this guy, or this guy's suing you, or this guy's doing this, or this guy's doing that.
Or your ex-wife is suing you.
Oh, yeah. That was a regular thing in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then there was a TV show that it's going to remain nameless, but I had to sue this TV show because the person on the reality show, because myself and that person are cool. We've talked since then. We're actually friends now. And it was the actual network that they were on who was doing all the background soundtrack music for that reality show. He's the one who grabbed a couple of my tunes, including one from the A440 album called High in the Sky. And I'm like watching the TV show because I liked it, and I was, a fan of that person. And I'm hearing my song in the background. Even my current wife now,
Isn't
Michelle,
that yours?
she's going, wait, yeah. And I'm like, it is. So next thing I know, I'm on the phone. I'm like, you got to call, this network and say, hey, what the fuck's going on? And that took about 3 years. By the time the show was off the air, because it was canceled, because that person had more drama in their life than I could ever dream of. I think a lot of it they put on themselves, but okay, whatever. And by the time it was said and done, that person actually reached out to me via email and said, dude, I had no idea. I am so sorry, because, I know what it's like when people take your creativity or rob you of this or rob you of that, and you take things without asking. Yeah. She's like, and the funny thing is that they said, I don't, it's like, I don't blame you for being like Lars Ulrich. And I'm like, no, because people don't realize, I own all my publishing of everything I've ever written since I was 13 years old. All bands that I've ever been in, that were my bands that I formed or whatever, I own the masters too. I own all the publishing of everything I've ever written. I own the masters to everything I've ever recorded, to prevent that shit from happening.
Right. That's the only way to do it.
It's like people, well, yeah, because George Lynch actually has a very horrific story. When he left Dawkins, it goes to show how much of a dingbat, douchebag, fuckhead Don Dawkins really is. But then you all know, well, the names of the band is Dawkins, so needless to say, it was a solo band. It always has been. That's why when Don Dawkins came out with Don Dawkins, the Up from the Ashes album, I laughed and said, why? You already have a solo band, Dawkins. What's the difference?
Yeah.
Because he signed a master's deal, and he sold all of his masters to the record label. Not one dime of that money ever went to Mick Brown, Jeff Pilson, or George Lynch. He saved it, hugged it all for himself. That's another reason why, Yeah.
You just got to be careful who you associate with, man.
It was Don Dokken never wanted to be part of a band. He always wanted to be a solo artist. And
well, he's a prima
I think that's
donna.
the same
Yeah,
way, like, oh, yeah, he is. He gets butthurt a lot. And, like, I loved Dokken because of George Lynch, and I still only like George Lynch Dokken.
The Red Beach one never sold me.
No.
That one never sold me. Red Beach, although Doug Ulrich and Red Beach, because I love Doug Ulrich and Red Beach and Whitesnake, I actually liked that rendition very much.
Right. Well, that was good.
Did.
Definitely good. And the thing about it is with Whitesnake music, a lot of people do it. I was disappointed when Whitesnake redid the Deep Purple songs. I'm like, oh, and like they did.
Oh, when they redid Burn. Yeah, when they redid Burn, I was kind of pissed about that one too. Yeah,
it's
and I hate Richie Blackmore. Yeah.
And it wasn't the songs that they did; it was the production of it. It was the studio.
Yeah.
They completely whacked that song to fucking. They just took a fucking meat cleaver to it, man.
No, David Coverdale is not the same singer he was when he first recorded.
No, well, then again, neither is. Actually. There's one person who's still just as good as he was back in the day, and that's definitely, without a doubt, Bruce Dickinson.
Bruce Dickinson's too, but also I don't know if this is your kind of band or not, but Michael Sweet from Stryper still got it too.
Oh yeah. He still got it too. It's actually, I'm very surprised at how well he can still sing.
Yeah, amazing.
The one that really shocked me of how bad, and how just. He had a brutal voice and he had a brutal singing style back when, Cinderella was on top. But doing his solo stuff, I could see him. He sounds better doing his solo stuff because it's more bluesy. And he's got that raspy, beat-up bluesy voice, and that's Tom Kiefer.
Yeah, well, he also had vocal surgery. He had nodules on his throat, on his vocal cords.
Yep, so did Dee Snider, too.
Yep. Dee Snider.
He had polyps.
Yeah, he sounds great now. And I was always a big Twisted Sister fan. And I don't know, they were just so iconic to me as a young kid. And I think they got labeled as like bubblegum rock when they shouldn't have.
Yeah, I think that there's another one, too, that really it's funny because I hate to say this now that Zach is back in the band, but I really think Ozzy really needs to reconsider doing this.
No, I know.
Because he just doesn't have the voice anymore.
No.
You see him walking on stage, and he looks like he's got osteoporosis. I mean, and what the thing is you and I can sit here and joke about this till the cows come home and have some pretty good punchlines for it. The fact of the matter is, what he's done to himself and done to his body, and all those years, plus he's almost 70-something years old.
He should have been dead 20 years ago. He's been dead man walking.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
It's not by the drugs. I'm surprised Cher hasn't killed him,
If he goes on tour, he sells out everywhere he goes.
Yep.
That's because he's an icon.
No,
he is a rock icon. There's no getting around it.
The thing is, he could
lose his voice.
There's no getting around it.
Yeah, he could lose his voice completely and still sell tickets. I mean, all he has to do is come out on stage. I just don't like,
as much as I love Ozzy, I just don't like what he did back in the day to like Bob Daisley and Jakey Lee and so many other people who've ever worked with him.
That wasn't him.
That was Sharon, though. That was Sharon.
Yeah, it was Sharon. Yeah.
That was Sharon.
I think he had some problems doing that. Even when they fucked over Phil Suzanne, who co-wrote "Shot in the Dark," which was his first taste at the pop charts.
Yeah, Phil Suzanne also. Thinking about Phil Suzanne too. I think with Phil Suzanne though, Phil Suzanne had the same problem Jakey Lee had. And Rudy Sarzo had.
Right.
I don't think Randy ever had that because, I don't know, there's something about Randy that, I don't know. I don't think Zach's ever had that either.
Right.
Because, obviously Zach's the type of guy who would have fucking took his head off and shit down his neck.
Yeah, right.
I think, honestly, though, Bob Daisley, I see a lot of it. I understand it. and being a diehard Ozzy fan, Bob Daisley fan, Jake fan, just those first albums from 1982 all the way to 1989 to me were just stoic.
Right. Well, even Lee Curtis.
And Bob Daisley, even though he wasn't in the band, that's the thing. Bob Daisley helped write, No Rest for the Wicked. He helped write, No More Tears. And, so I think even though he says what he says in that book, I think he had a contractual arrangement with them.
Probably. Well,
why else would he keep coming back to do it? If you got fucked, I'm sorry, if I get fucked over on one record, that's it. You're out. See you later. Fuck you. See you in court. He kept coming back, record after record after record. This is why I smell something fishy in Denmark when it comes to Bob Daisley. Obviously, he had a fucking arrangement.
Well, yeah, and because money, you could still be pissed off and sue somebody and still make money for it. Look at in Kiss again. I'll go back to Kiss. They threw Vinnie Vincent out of the band, and 10 years later, he helped write songs on their album in '92, Revenge. So
yeah, that was to me that was and I'm glad you said that, because let me tell you something. Those last two records, Revenge and Carnival of Souls, to me are the best records Kiss ever put out.
They are pretty damn good records. I agree with you. Definitely the best from
Bruce Kulick did not get enough love. Did not get enough love.
Kulick didn't. And I'll tell you the thing.
Neither did his brother Bob, because his brother Bob was the, shall we say, I always called him Ace Frehley's shadow.
Right.
Because every time Ace Frehley was too stoned to do anything, in come the bald guy with the mustache and the fucking fingers.
Yeah, and he was also the lead guitarist and did a great job. As a matter of fact, Bob was the choice to replace.
But he didn't have the hair.
Yeah, the hair. And he suggested his brother Bruce, who was actually in the Michael Bolton band.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
I don't. Mark St. John. As much as I love Mark St. John, Mark St. John. I'm sorry, but that's the only time I could ever say. Vinny, yes. Bruce, definitely. Ace, well, that goes without saying, whatever. Tommy, even somewhat. Mark St. John never really, he never really got to play much anyway, because that's when his hands started hurting him. But and that's when, Bruce had to come in and start pitch hitting. But I never saw Mark St. John as a fit for that band anyway.
Nah, he wasn't.
Mark St. John belonged in an orchestra.
Yeah, and he was a great guitar player, and people don't even realize how good he was. He was so subdued on the Kiss album, he toned his style down by 200% for the Kiss album.
Yep.
Because he's an awesome guitar player, or was an awesome guitar player.
Yeah, he said in an interview after he left Kiss when he's sick. It was going towards the end anyway. He said that, one of the reasons why he toned it down, he says, I did not want it to have the same problem that happened with Vinny happened to me.
Right.
Because I guess apparently there were some times that, Vinny would come in there and pull all this virtuoso stuff that Paul Stanley knew he could never do.
Right.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I hate to interrupt, but we're out of time.
We are, yep.
We are out
of
time. Wow, what a great interview.
Oh.
Allan Davey, I want to thank you for coming on the show again.
Hey, thanks for having me. This was great to hang out with you guys again. I missed you guys.
And you come back and see us sometime, anytime. Let me know what the progress is on the album and what you're going to do with it. Because it sounds like you haven't made up your mind.
Oh, the album is still out. It's still for sale.
Where's it at? Where can folks get it or not?
Just go to my Reverb Nation page, Reverb Nation, reverbnation.com/Allan Davey, and you have to scroll all the way to the bottom. You'll see all the Cost of Death stuff, or you could actually buy the album when you hit albums.
All right. Well, we'll get some of that onto into our rotation, and we can look forward to more great music from Allan Davey in the future. And we thank you for coming on. We did want to promote all of our DJs this week that we've got going on KGFRocks.com, and that's the Rod Boyer Show. He'll be gone for 2 weeks, but I'm going to fill in Monday nights tomorrow
Oh,
night
lucky
I will
you.
be on, and then I will also go on the following Monday and try to fill his shoes because that's going to be tough. And then
Yeah.
we've got Diamond is back this week, and also Wild Bill Hill, and then of course the boys on
Yeah,
Wednesday
I know.
night.
Wild Bill Hill asked me to come on his show.
Yeah, he's great. He's a great guy. And then we're going to. We've also got a brand new show coming up if we can get the boys a going, and that is Death by Metal STL. He's got the magazine. The guys are going to attempt to do a show, and that'll be on Thursday night at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time.
And don't forget about Podcast Rock Cities on Wednesday nights, and also the replay on Saturday mornings, and the Conjugal revisits on Sunday mornings.
And we just don't play, the last week's show. We play our classic shows and our older shows, and so just enjoy all the shows. Anytime you want, just go to the Conjugal Visit page on our website. Thanks for listening in tonight. We really do appreciate you being here. Guido?
I love being here.
All right, man. Thanks for joining us tonight, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you missed some of it, you can go back and listen to it again on the front page of the website. Thanks again. Good night.
Later.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Well,
It's
yeah.
Sunday
Don't know.
night, and this is the Conjugal Visit on KGFRocks.com.